So before I start, I want to first explain this. When I decided that I wanted to be a minister, you always see people wear just flowing things or whatever, but they didn't represent anything to me. And a few weeks ago, Ingrid gave these out in church. Isabel, I'm sorry. You can shoot me later.
Doesn't matter.
But
Change my name.
But these are to say that you were loved, and I couldn't think of anything more appropriate as I start this, which to me is the public step of me becoming a minister. And by the public step, I mean also being able to speak in front of you, but to commit to the fact that for the rest of my life, I want to help. I want to be there in the good times, the bad times, the happy, the sorrow. Whatever you guys need, this is what is for me. And I'm humbled to be here, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Holy Week, the week before the crucifixion, the week before Easter. It's kind of tough what to think about. You talk about the chocolate bunny, pink grass, plastic baskets and all that, the Fillmores. But I decided I would talk about how we lift and how we carry each other, how we find abundance when all we see is lack. But before I start that, I'd like to do just a tiny meditation to get us all grounded in love, empathy, and compassion. So if everyone can please get comfortable, feel your feet settle into the ground. Take in a deep breath. Hold it for about as long as it took you to breathe it in. And exhale. And as you exhale, feel any of the stress that you've been carrying leave your body. Feel it leave your feet and your knees, the pit of your stomach. Let your shoulders relax. Feel that tension that we carry in the brow dissipate. And while your eyes are closed, I'd like you to picture a baby, a newborn baby. You're her first contact. I want you to see her tiny hand with yours. I'd like you to reach out and touch that hand. Feel the fingers curl in yours. Notice the pink of her palms. Rub your fingers within hers. This is acting and reacting with love. This is pure, tender connection. Can people visualize that? Now, as you come back to me, I'd like you to slowly open your eyes. Roll your head from the left to the right as you come out. And as you turn your head to the left, notice the people next to you. And if you turn your head to the right, notice those people as well. These are the people of our church. These are our friends, our families. We love these people. We come together each week in fellowship, unity. We come hopefully to carry something away that will carry us through the week. And every once in a while, hopefully to carry something that will take us through the rest of our lives. So again, turn to the people to your left. Look at them with love. To the right, the ones in front of you, and the ones behind you. Hi, Barbara. Think of your friends, your family, your grandparents, your spouse, your significant others, your children. Would you carry them? Would they carry you? Would they be there for you in your times of trouble, your darkest hours? Have you ever been scared, sick, lonely, lost? Needed the kindness of words? You needed to hold the hand of a stranger? Anything to get you through the day? Have people been there for you? I've been in these situations. When I was young, my kidneys failed. I was denied help by those who loved me, by those who raised me. Yet I was given the gift of life by strangers in their darkest hours. Would you be one of those people? Are you one of those who clicks and shares? But do you live what you click and share? Jesus feeds the masses. I'm going to offer you a version of this that's different. It's a little different interpretation. I'm not telling you have to believe what I'm saying, but I'm giving you permission to use allegory to understand the Bible, to expand your version of it. And by you expanding your version, you will expand ours, and we will carry each other. This happens twice, 5,000, and then again in Matthew with 4,000. Jesus had been talking. It had gotten late. He wanted some solace. He steps away. But he's so dynamic, his words are so powerful, they follow him. The disciples ask him. They know they're hungry. And they said, we need to feed them. Jesus tells them, feed them. They said, but it will take a half a year's wages to feed them all. Jesus says, how much food do we have? They tell him, we have 5 loaves and 2 fish. Now, to me, this is the part where it gets very interesting. This is my favorite part. He is a study in humanity, a study in human nature. Beyond the connection to Christ, he knows people. He takes the bread. He looks away from the disciples because they see lack. He looks toward the heavens. He holds the bread up. He breaks the bread, sets it in the baskets to go around. He knows what is needed is not his words, but his example. These people have flocked to hear him speak. They live in hard times. A lot of what they make is taken and sold for taxes. 9 out of 10 at this time are illiterate. What they learn is through oral tradition and through example. He knows it's his example. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't leave my house without a bottle of water or a cup of coffee. If I'm gone for the day, I don't leave without a way of getting food. But this is the ancient wilderness. There's no convenience stores. There's no hot dog stands. There's no restaurants. So how does the food come? People bring it. 5,000 people do not leave their home unprepared. They do not take their grandmother without water. They do not take their kids without a way of getting food. They do not take the sick, the blind, the leprous for a tortured journey. They bring it. Jesus holds the bread up, breaks it. Imagine the sight, the person that you've come to see, to emulate, to learn the words from, to learn by example. Breaks the bread, puts it in the basket with the fish, takes none for himself, and hands it. Those who need reach in the basket and they grab food. But those who have find their hands reaching into their pockets and satchels, putting a piece of bread, dried meat, dried fish, anything they can afford, they put into the basket. They share their water, they share their wine. And this happens over and over until everyone is fed. His example is to find abundance. He finds it in humanity. He finds it within ourselves. He finds it by reaching in to love. Where we connect with God, we connect with God in here, in love. God is love. This is it. These people have come to learn from him. It's Adam and Eve stuff. These people are stripped naked, not of their clothes, but to their real selves. This is where the example he has set in them takes flight or dies. The baskets move around. The people are fed. See, the miracle is not that he created food from nothing. The miracle is that without a word, but by example, he got us to be the best that we can be. Now, I want to tell you that I don't not believe the traditional that he manifested food from nothing. All that time ago, when 2 atoms, 2 particles, probably hydrogen, forced themselves together under the absolute laws of God, compressed so much, expanding at the same time, creating and manifesting till the universe was born. Still continued compressing and manifesting and expanding. Divine God principles, the earth. Everything we know on the earth, humans, our legs, our arms, our mind, our heart, our lifeblood, was all manifested. Our lifeblood. This is one of my things I like to think about. It's one of those, if you're a stoner, you'd have thought about this. But it carries food and oxygen throughout our body. It regulates enzymes, it regulates chemical levels, it fights off infection, it removes spent oxygen cells. It literally is why we live. And when you think of all the things that blood can do, on our worst times, when we were cut open, it converts itself into a Band-Aid and seals us up. So if I can believe that from those two particles, everything we see, know, feel, touch, sense, smell, came into existence, including us, including the way we think, and including blood, which does all that, I can easily believe that Jesus manifested food from the heavens. But for me, it's the example that comes from this that's the miracle. The miracle that we can reach down within ourselves, find each other, and lift each other. There is abundance everywhere. A few years ago, I had left a church service. I was down in Florida. I had stopped to get a cup of coffee. You never know when it's your time to carry someone or to be carried. I'd parked near the window, walked in and stood in line to get a cup of coffee. A disheveled guy approached my car. I had left my window down. I had left my iPod on the front seat. He was going to steal my iPod. And we're kind of in this standoff between each other. He's watching me, I'm watching him. Finally, the standoff ended because I had to get my coffee. He made his move, and I rushed out. He didn't anticipate how quickly I would be there, but I'd caught him. I'd parked close to a trash can. I caught the man reaching in the trash can, grabbing a half-eaten piece of hamburger and putting it in his mouth. I reached in my pocket. I took all I had. I gave it to the man. He stuck it in his pocket, continued eating his hamburger, and walked away. Most people would think I carried him in some way that day. That's not the truth. The man was trying to save his hunger. He was trying to save his dignity. I was worried about an iPod, a piece of plastic and glass. He carried me. He carried me to a new level of awareness, to a new level of compassion, a new level of empathy. Sometimes you don't know where it's coming from. You don't understand. You don't see abundance. Another time, the disciples needed to pay a tax. They asked Jesus what to do. He said, go down to the water, cast in a line. You will find a fish with a silver coin in his mouth. Now, do I think there was a fish swimming around with a silver coin in his mouth? Probably not. But what did many of the disciples do before they met Jesus? They were fishermen. He was telling them to go to the water, do what they do, catch enough fish, sell it, and pay the taxes. He saw what was within them. He saw how to do it. He saw abundance. We carry it in here. Have you heard the thing, God is love? God is omnipresent. I believe God is love. I don't believe God is omnipresent. Present makes it a quality. It's omnipresence. Always, everywhere, at all times. God is love. It's always there, always present. We connect with God. We connect with God through love, through here. And when Jesus was asked about the Mosaic laws, he broke them down. But they seemed difficult. So he broke them down to 2 laws. Love thy Lord God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. This is the greatest commandment. And the second is, love thy neighbor as yourself. If you're seeking God, often that means that you don't see him, that you don't see God, which means he is nowhere. If you understand that God is love, and we carry God here, you understand that God is now here, simply moving the W. And I'm kind of stealing that thought from Eric Butterworth. But if you love yourself, if you love God, you feel that love, then you love yourself with your whole heart, your soul, and your body. Easily follows to love your neighbor the same way, with your whole heart, your soul, and your body. I am using notes because I don't have that good a memory. So the 4008, the 5008, And they followed by example. Jesus expected this example. He tells us so in John 14:12. You will do the things I do, and you will do them greater. These are humble people. The disciples are humble people. They're like us. They see lack. We see lack. Have you ever had a time when you didn't know if you had enough money in your account to pay a bill? If you've been hungry? If you've just been sad and didn't know where the strength to get up is going to come the next day? It's through love that we've lifted and carried each other. You focus on a problem, you don't see the solution. It takes audacity to set the example. It takes audacity to be that person. A little over a year ago, I was sick. I got pretty sick. I had gone in for a minor procedure that went horribly wrong. I didn't have the strength to make it to the end of the tunnel. The end of the tunnel being health. I should have been out of there in a couple hours. But the doctor fought for 17 hours. My wife prayed and hoped and loved. My friends prayed and hoped and loved. That carried me until I can carry myself. The audacity came in before the surgery. The doctor walked in and said, Tom, there's a lot of people that do what I do, and they do it well. I'm the guy you want when it doesn't go well. I had trusted him before. I really trusted him then. To find out what he did to save my life, it was just amazing. It took audacity for Jesus to know that it was his example that was needed to be set. Without a word, he lifted up those people. He broke the bread. He passed it around. His example. He reached in, touched love, and shared that with everybody. It doesn't take big commitments. The payoff is wonderful. It takes consistency. About 2 months ago, we were asked by a mother to go see a play, Billy Elliot. We were asked because she's proud of her daughter. And we had a great night. The payoff was immediate. We had a wonderful dinner. We saw a phenomenal play. And then we got to come in the next day, and we got to speak to her mom. And see the pride of her daughter who gives of her time every week to take care of the youth of the church. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take deciding that a guy is a bum because he needs a hamburger. It doesn't take criticizing a child because they eat too much at the church buffet. It doesn't take deciding someone is less than us because of where we were born or how we were raised, the color of our skin. Our job is to reach in, connect with God, take that love, act and react with love always. Thank you.
Thank you.